Hello and welcome to the Your Revolution podcast. The Your Revolution podcast is a collaboration between Revolution Personal and Performance Training in Melbourne and the Me Project. The purpose of the Your Revolution podcast is to inspire you on your mission of betterment. Each week on the podcast, you'll meet game changers who have created extraordinary lives, and you'll listen to stories and lessons to empower you to make the changes necessary to your life. The Your Revolution podcast is committed to fitness, health, nutrition, mindset, community, education, empowerment, and betterment, and we hope that you can take what you learn here and apply it to your very own revolution.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 112 of the Your Revolution podcast. Today we've got a big episode lined up as I'm going to be joined by two guests today. That's right, you heard me correctly, two. Both guests come from the manual therapy world like myself, who I've both known since I started studying as a myotherapist in 2012. So, without further ado, let's welcome Edgar Campos and Shaun Brewster. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Good, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome on the podcast. Super excited to have you both on. Are we ready to begin?
Absolutely.
Born ready.
Born ready. Alrighty. So, before we dive in, as we always do when I kick off the episode, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for both of you to firstly give our listeners an introduction into who you are and your journey through health and fitness. Let's start with you, Edgar.
Yeah, sure. I suppose it all kind of begins at home for me. I had a dad who was very much into his fitness. You know, he always kept in good nick. And then that trickled down to my brothers and I. We grew up in a Latin American family. So football or soccer was the main thing, that we loved. And it's just always been a part of our lives, essentially. So that's where my kind of initial passion or real interest began for sport and health in general.
Yep, and fantastic. And yourself, Shaun?
So my name's Shaun. I'm a Cancerian. I like long walks on the beach. No, sorry, wrong meeting.
I'm not going to hold you.
No, my name's Shaun Brewster. I'm a myotherapist, exercise physiologist. This has been my passion, my career for the last 20 plus years. I knew pretty fortunate, I knew from about the ripe old age of about 14 that this is the industry that I wanted to work in. Mm-hmm. Started doing courses at about 15, graduated high school, moved to the city from the country.
Yep.
Started studying, found myself in myotherapy, branched out, did some other things after that. Been in clinical practice for, 20 years and found myself in a teaching role a couple of years after graduating, and that became my second passion. So now I split my time between clinical work and teaching training therapists around the country through my other business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, I guess a question again following up for both of you. Can you sort of further elaborate on just your own personal health journey and I suppose how you both got from where you are now? I guess let's talk about, the beginning.
So for me, when I was in high school, you got to answer that age-old question, what do I want to do for the rest of my life, or what do I want to do now? Yep. So for me, I outlined that, absolutely, I'd love to do something in health. It had to be social. I love being around people. So that was...
Love a good chat.
Absolutely. A bit of banter, never hurt anyone.
Yep.
And, if it could be flexible, even better. And above all, how can I contribute? How can I help? So I went to an open day at ACST, Australian College of Sports Therapy. Mm-hmm. And I sat in a chat. I absolutely loved what I heard. And I thought to myself, if I can align this, my therapy, with the possibility of working with elite athletes, I'm onto something here.
Yep.
So I think we've all been through that little snippet in our myotherapy or health professional life where you're like, I want to work with elite athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But as I started to delve deeper into my studies, I found that I definitely like to be more on the private practice side of things.
Yep.
Went through the entire course. After that, took a little bit of time off just to essentially enjoy myself a little bit. Mm-hmm. Up until that point, all I've done is study essentially. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be straight. I bummed around for about 6 months.
Yep.
And just, like I said, enjoyed myself. And then from there, I began my journey. I began as a therapist at Elite Myotherapy. I worked as a subcontractor for 2.5 years or so.
Yep.
And with Elite, they offered the possibility of franchising and having your own kind of clinical setup. And for me, I reached a point where I needed a new challenge.
Yep.
And we have since opened up that location in Essendon, and probably just a slight bit over a year, so a year and a quarter, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And very much loving what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay, fantastic. Now, we should also point out is that's actually where we all met at the Australian College of Sports Therapy.
Absolutely.
So Edgar and I are actually colleagues together, and I believe one of our first subjects was with you, Sean. It would have been business.
That's right. Yeah. Look, I'm basically the grandfather of both of your careers, aren't I? Like it all comes from me.
I was going to say the godfather.
No, I remember you two in class back in the early days,
and clown, mate.
Yeah, I think I could see both of you had a really good attitude, and your heads were screwed on. But put you together, and it was a different story.
Disaster.
Yeah, but here we are. 9 years later?
Yeah.
8 years later.
Shit.
All on our own different paths and doing different things, and basically owning our careers. So it's good.
Yeah,
it's good to see you guys where you've come from and where you are now.
Yeah, look, as a student, I think coming out of high school, maturity is still ground level,
of course.
And I was just chasing a good time, meeting new people and everything. But I like to think I was one of those students that could just switch it on as I needed.
Yeah.
But like 9 times out of 10, I was just enjoying myself.
I actually remember the first time we actually caught up. It was at the very first class. I think it was one. I think Michael Jeffrey might have been to.
Yeah, Michael Jeffrey.
I remember you walked in because you were all in Manchester United gear. And the first thing I was like, "Who is this guy?" Like all in the kit, head to toe. And,
hasn't changed really.
Nah, not really.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Very much. Football, soccer, a huge passion in my life. So that continues to this day.
No, absolutely, nothing wrong with that. Now, as for yourself, Sean, you did touch on that you also started from more like from a clinical side of practicing into teaching as well.
Yep.
Can you kind of further elaborate on that and transition, I suppose?
I guess the teaching side of things started for me pretty early on. I got into martial arts when I was 11 or 12.
Yep.
And that pretty much consumed my life outside of school and family and stuff for the next probably couple of decades. I started teaching martial arts when I was about 15 or 16. Ended up taking over the school that I was training at that point, at about that age as well. So teaching is something I found myself in and found myself pretty comfortable with early on. And then moved to Melbourne to study and then continued teaching martial arts. And my understanding of my interest in learning more about the human body probably came from that. So that was when I said about age 14, 15, I knew what I wanted to do. Yeah. It probably came from my fascination with the human body and how it broke and then how you could fix it when it's broken.
Yeah.
And anatomy and physiology. I had a couple of good mentors along the way. And so that's where that branched out from. I eventually did martial arts as a kind of part-time career for a long time, teaching that. And then just due to proximity and location and moving around different places, I sort of had to give that away. But then got into running and got into running in a big way and running really, really far trail running, so ultra marathon trail running. And so again, the new passion then was understanding the human body and how it moved over long distances. And that formed a big foundation of what I did clinically for a long time. I had a business around running, again, coaching. So again, teaching was sort of part of the natural order of things for me. And I still do a bit of running coaching now for trail runners and ultra distance runners. So understanding the human body and how it breaks when you're running became the big thing. And so I guess I specialised in lower limb and endurance sports type patients that were coming through the clinic, and I still see a fair bit of that. I guess my passions outside of my career in a big way informed what I ended up doing inside my career. So where I tried, like Edgar, to combine the things that I was really interested in and passionate about into my career so that I can make that passion kind of overflow into other parts of my life.
No, absolutely. Cool. Great answer. Now, I saw one question I'm sure you both get asked a lot is, what is myotherapy?
I don't know.
Oh, shit, this is awkward. What are we doing here? Now, could you both, further elaborate on, I suppose, the role that a myotherapist plays in the health industry, and I suppose how, in your own words, you'd say that we would differ from a physio, a chiro, and whatnot?
That's a good question, that one, Greggy. Look, for starters, for me, we all have our place. I don't bash any other professions. We all have a role to play. So whether it's an osteo, physio, chiro, etc., we all have a role to play. So the way I break it down, as myotherapist, myo translating to muscle, so muscle therapist, we specialize in treating the musculoskeletal system and conditions and pains that come with it. Every other profession has their own little niche. we all have things that we excel in.
Yep.
So like I said, there's a place for all of us, and really we should all be looking to collaborate and just get the best possible result for the client, patient, depending on how you look at it.
What, I guess, do you see as like a common misconception with a myotherapist?
Look, the number one thing is, I'm coming in for a massage,
Yep. Okay. That's a good point.
And no disrespect to